And yes, we're back here on Smart Means Business. Our last part of our discussion takes us in regards to the appropriation bill. Parliament last week passed a 52.7 trillion budget that is likely to be presented for the next financial year. And of course, the question is, however, did this bill address the young people? Well, the youth are under the parish development model according to the program-based budget that we have, and the government intends to pass through the PDM to ensure that they uplift families and livelihoods from the same. Andrew, you see, there's quite a very big argument here in regards to whether the young people are included, or there are conversations, or whether we have conversations where the youth are inclusive in regards to the budget allocations.
Actually, Jerome, I think before I even get into the budget allocations, talking about what has been done for the youth.
Yes.
Because I want to stretch back from back to the elders. We have the Uganda Research Institute, what people know as URI. You know, it's very interesting. How many? Okay, I was trying to ask myself, how many people are even aware that it does exist? You know, very few. But do you know that there you're trained for free, and after you're trained, you use their resources for free, and you can actually produce something from there? Anyway, I'm trying to look at all these other aspects, how the government from way back has been really putting out their aspects to help the young people,
yes,
the youth, in terms of how they can survive. You know, the aspects of the parish development model, which is okay, but you know, we've seen already irregularities that are associated with the aspect. You know, however much the president had really a positive idea when he was putting this out. You know, smallholder farmers. You know, actually, monetization. You know, being able to add value to the things that we do. But you know, with the political nature of the aspects that come in, that some of the funds that are expected and which are expected to be received by the different youths are not really given unto them. But anyway, that is something which is everywhere. I'm not going to say corruption, because it's in every aspect when it comes to when government really decides to implement projects to benefit a certain group of people. That is expected. But now, if we are to take a look at some other aspects which have really been put there for the youth, you know, the question is, how have we used this? Must mentioned something lately that we are, as youth lately, we are spoiling our lives. I mean, doing things that are necessary.
Yeah.
You know, instead of getting to understand what do we really, what is out there that is benefiting us, and how do we be a part of it. You know, I've already mentioned that research institute in Namambe, you know, but who has really taken an initiative to go there and say, I want to be trained to do this? People are trained to make soap, you know, to make cooking oil, Vaseline, man, lots of aspects there. And you use their space and their products for free, you know, government funded and all that. So when you look into those aspects, now the youth complaining about budgets, yeah, it is understandable, and they have the right to do that, because money needs to be allocated to them because they make a big percentage here. You know, if you say you're sorting unemployment in the country, you need to sort the youth. You know, but the question comes back to, we the youth, how are we really embracing these aspects? We are always into complaints that, you know, they eat the money that is supposed to help us. Fine, okay, they eat it if it's right, okay. Well, what about the already ongoing government projects which are helping the youth? How far have you made an initiative to be a part of that? And that's another question, you know, to do that. Yeah, because now, lately, if I'm to look at most of the youth, they are into actually tech. You know, they're the ones which have startups, and yeah, just a little support that is needed for them, maybe to be there when it comes to being able to lobby, because some may not be able to get the seed capital that they really get, because some of this seed capital, for you to get it, it's quite a series of competitions, which is a little bit frustrating. It's understandable, but you know, catering for them when it comes to startups is something which would be very vital, and what I believe the budget has provided for them to be able to really catch up with their projects that they are pursuing in life.
Well, of course, now we try to look at the fact that do we think or do we believe that the youth have been highly recognized in the next financial buckets? Big discussion. So Honorable Sekabira Dennis, Member of Parliament, Katikamo South, rather Katikamo North, has this to say in regards to whether the budget is addressing the youth in any way.
Now, common knowledge that Parliament passed the budget last week, and the number of issues we think the budget is not speaking to realities in many areas. One, when you look at women and the youth, these are the people who are in agriculture. And because majority of our population are youth, and over 70% of our population are in subsistence agriculture. Therefore, majority of the youth are in agriculture. And when you look at the allocation for agriculture, it is 3% of the national budget. Therefore, if we are looking at are these youth going to be able to get planting materials like seed, coffee seedlings, and other materials? Of course, no, because those are not in the budget. The allocation for that was transferred to PDM. But in every financial year, only about 10 people in a sub-county, and now 100 people, can access 1 million shillings. That's the 100 million per sub-county. So the question is, how many women, how many youth are going to be part of these beneficiaries? Probably you may find there is none, because the consideration is not according to gender. The consideration is according to your business. So if you have many of these youth who are just starting up, and the guidelines is that they inspect your business, so that youth will not have a business. What about the youth who are into other? Therefore, in most cases, the youth, if maybe what we would have looked at, if there is the youth are also unemployed, are we seeing measures on how we are going to fight unemployment? Probably, if they are to get jobs. But you know, this falls short of our expectations.
Unfortunately, this government started clustering people into small groups of women, youth, the elderly, people with disabilities. To some extent, they are right, but I think in a broader perspective, in a broader view, they are wrong. All Ugandans remain Ugandans, irrespective of their classification. So I think the most important thing is to try to do a budget that tackles almost different aspects of life, how we live, be it how you are taxing us and how you deliver services to us. Because most of the money that we spend is spent on budgets or on things that try to address our basic needs. For example, food. Right now, food is very expensive. Electricity is very expensive, shelter, and I do not think that the salaries that people get commensurates with the cost of living. So therefore, I think this budget should have had interest. They should have focused on how they subsidize the basics, what people spend on a lot in their day-to-day life.
My advice to the youth is that we are now in a global village. Uganda is fighting to be part of the East African community, and other partner states are also fighting to join. The other side, you see countries fighting to join NATO and the EU, which means that where we are going, benefits are in association, no longer an individual. So where like countries are coming together, the youth should also come together. Probably it may be easier for them to access government assistance when they are as a group rather than individuals. If one person accesses 1 million, it may be useless. They may not be able to establish a business. But when they are together, 20 members, and they access 10 million, it may start up a small business. So it is about learning to work together, because many youth groups, when they are given money, they ask for money as a group, but once they are given money, they go aside and then they subdivide the money among them. They share the money among themselves. At the end of the day, they can't pay back. That's why programs like Youth Livelihood really have not created impact. NADS is just fighting to create. So Myoga, there was a youth component. It is not among those performing very well. So that's what I can give to them.
See, this government thinks giving handouts can change the standard of living. And that is what has been indoctrinated in the youth. They think government should have a budget that is going to support them and what. It should be a matter that cuts across. What affects the youth affects the women, affects the men and the children. So I would not want a budget that looks at the youth, addresses the women, and then PWs. It should be a budget for Ugandans, actually. So I am not disappointed that they have not put special fund for the youth or whatever. I would actually disagree with them, or even I disagree with the government to think that PDM is going to change the standard of living of people, that it's going to change their incomes. It is not going to. Actually, with bad roads, with a high standard of living, however, it doesn't matter how much money you give to people, because they will spend that same money to address the issues that challenge them in their day-to-day life.
Well, the last member of parliament from Katikamo has made Andrew laugh a bit. And I don't know why he was laughing, though. Well, do you think about the fact that he's saying how the youth spend their money, or how they should spend their money?
Very perfect, Gerard. Now, stretching back to some time ago, you remember when the president we had some time back, Idi Amin Dada, chased out the Indians in the country. If you remember, during that time when people were given the buildings, which these people own, the businesses which these Indians own, and we saw a class of people rising during that time. They used to call them mafuta minji, people who had money. But surprisingly, in a space of years, the businesses had collapsed. But that was the right initiative, having citizens own the economy. But they didn't put in the fact that some of these people weren't even educated, when it comes to handling businesses and all these aspects. So when I try to relate to what the Member of Parliament just made, that if you don't sort the core aspects of life, for example, basic needs like food, and people are looking for what to eat on a daily basis, shelter, food, shelter, and the transportation, then what are you expecting when you give people this money to access it for personal development? Because I'll tell you, youths have formed all these clusters, but if you can ask yourself a question, amongst all these youth that were put into these clusters and they were given this money to do these projects, how many projects have we seen succeed? Okay, success stories, I'm not saying they're not there, they are there. But it's useless for you to have a project whereby we see thousands participate and you only have one successful person. That's not a successful project.
Yeah. But of course,
we need to feel the impact of it.
Well, of course, I think now the young people and the government will definitely be going head to head in the next financial year, entirely because we think, first of all, the government has done less for the young people. Well, the projects are there, the programs are set up, but are the youth or the young people feeling the benefits of these particular programs? And the next financial year, good thing is that the PDM is still in place and still in position, but will this be the answer to the youth problems and challenges? I don't know well, but as we've been speaking about the uptake of startups, we've given examples in Kenya, Egypt, for example, and you can see how much of a conducive environment the government has to create,
Yes, of course, that is something quite very necessary because at least at this age, people have gone to school, unlike way back in the times, that was an issue. So the only aspect in here is the support and creating that environment that favors that knowledge that somebody has acquired regardless of which university they have gone to, and it becomes relevant. You know, when people say that education is useless, it's not useless. It's because it's not being given platform where it can be useful, you know. And when I talk about platform, I'm not saying taking people to school, but if I come up with a proposal of a project because of the knowledge I acquired when I was in my university, how are you going to pay attention to me? You know, that is like, it's like how they give you a seed to plant it and it germinates. So education is a seed, but it has stayed in that state forever, you know. What's the use of you planting a seed and you don't plant it? It won't grow, you know. And at the end of the day, you'll say the seed is useless, it doesn't work, it doesn't grow, they lied to me. But no, it's not that, you know, because at least we see all these institutes that have come up to train young people to be better, you know. Back in the days, we only had a few of them, higher institutes of learning, and it was a bit limited, you know, have to get a degree. But lately we have short courses, certificates, you know, talking about sharpening young men for the future, you know, and the fact that we are migrating away from the theory-based approach, because we've seen all curriculums, you know, changing from all level. All this is actually targeting the youth, you know, and this is the thing that President Yoweri Museveni has been driving to foster. I mean, pushing young men to be innovative, because it's where we're heading to go. Because ask yourself a question that every other day there are people that graduate, you know, from these institutes, and they are looking for what to do. But the rate at which people are graduating and the rate at which jobs are created is not balancing up. But also, there is also another question. Yes. We create the jobs, but will we be able to employ the people who come to ask the jobs from us? If the working environment is not favorable? Or we shall find work as a safe haven to avoid the stress of owning businesses. So there are quite lots of things to really look into as we dissect these matters.
Well, and of course, as we are summing up now with discussions here for the entire show, many thanks for joining us from 6:30 a.m. Masika Tsime, Joram Paul Sonko, and Andrew Berige in here Mondays to Friday to make sure that we usher you into a business day that is well informed and, of course, with more of the business content that you deserve to know more about every day that you kickstart off your morning. But well, besides that, as we're kickstarting off your morning, we remind you that investing in government bonds and securities is something that you should as well take charge in and take part of by using the USSD code *292# for the MTN subscribers. Get going with the Zabo platform and make sure you invest in government bonds and securities. The markets on the platform are open from 8:15 a.m. and their closing time is 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. You should note, though, that these markets are fully closed during the weekends and on public holidays. Zabo, my money, my future. Alltech East Africa says do something new. What something new can you do today? Invest in government bonds and other securities. Zabo, my money, my future. And well, of course, the entire team here says good morning till tomorrow on Thursday, the 25th of May. We shall be getting back as well. And it will be business as usual here on Smart 24 Television. Coming up on Smart 24 is Financial Markets with Anthony Sebale. That is at 10 o'clock. So keep it here as we continue to drive your business. Good morning.
Let's live it up and party and have cracking good fun. When it comes to edutainment, DSTV's number one.
Is everybody ready to go?
We've got the zaniest characters to transport you away. The party is cracking, so why not come play? You're gonna love it. We've got so many channels and a ton of new shows, like Disney and Nickelodeon, where anything goes. So live it up with DSTV. We bring the fun. You know we're number one.
I'm a manager of Manyakabi Area Cooperative Enterprise. It was formulated way back in 2004. We are mainly in 3 enterprises. maize, beans, and soybean. We do cleaning, sorting, grading, and packing, and we sell them as grains. But for maize grains, we add value, we mill, sell it as maize flour and animal bran. Staff who are in administration, the number did not increase. But in the sales department, the number increased. In the milling team, now we have 3 shifts. So in the milling team, it increased from 6 to 18. In the animal brand, they used to be 2, now they are 10. Total number of staff increased to 28 if you include all the staff. Usually in the mornings, there are many youth here who are doing loading and offloading trucks. Our working relationship with UDB is very good. We applied for 300 million, which was approved, and they gave it to us in early 2020, around March. It was a 7-month loan period, and we successfully paid it. And after paying it, within 2 weeks, we got our second loan of 300 million. So that one, it helped us so much. Even in other banks, I think they cannot make a record of giving another loan in a period of 2 weeks. They were distributing food in Kampala. We were able to supply. The prices went up, farmers were happy that the production volumes increased. The sales increased of maize flour. Even it stimulated even our own farmers to put more effort to increase the volumes of maize grains because there was a market. And this, because we are milling, it brought more higher returns profit to both the farmers and the NCE. Those who used to harvest 3 to 2 bags in the same area, now they are harvesting 8 bags.
Ruri nari nima ekemu njamu kilo 10 ezikora 5 emu. Chokana nejoininga amanyakabi cooperative nebanyamba nebanyigirizo kurima burungi nenima ekemu njamu kilo 10. Sente zenajja mu nimiro zange mu byali nima nsomese abana bange nenzimba enyumba.
On a year basis, we are producing 150 metric tons of of maize flour. But now we are producing between 200 and 250 metric tons per month. So you can see we are dealing in large volumes of grains. We have increased from 324 million to over 1 billion. UDB funds has helped us to remain resilient and also to compete favorably with other big players in our business sector.
Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.